I know I'm the crazy conspiracy guy. I get it. I'm gonna try and keep it together for this one. I think we might have found him. I think we might have found the time traveler. And if you haven't seen this video yet, this guy down here goes into a shed and disappears. And then the next day, this guy walks out of the shed. When I first saw this video, I thought it was just fake. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was some sort of skit. So much so that I stitched it with like a silly little I'm a time traveler thing. But I've gone through it, and I can't figure it out. If it is a hoax, it's done well. But I also kind of think it's possible that there's a portal in the guy's shed. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but have you seen the show 11/22/63?
I need you to go in this closet, take a look around, then I'll tell you everything. That was 1960.
I always liked that show, but it always bothered me that the time portal was in a pantry in a diner. Like, wouldn't they have figured that out when they built the pantry? But I guess, like, they're maybe, I don't know. But it's like the same principle as what happened to the gentleman in the shed. Like, he went in as, like, what, mid to late 20s, came out early to mid 60s, so he might have spent 40 years in there, like, well, in the past. And he's wearing modern clothes, so he could have brought, like, his backpack could have had a change of clothes in it for when he came back to the future. But what did he change? Because let's say he went back to 1960, spent 40 years, then he would have come back in 2000, like come back to 2024 in 2000. But I'm convinced that it's the same guy, because unless they're just really closely related, they have the same walk, the same mannerisms, the same facial structure. I don't know, I think it's pretty close. So if he's from this timeline, if he comes back to 2024, somebody's got to recognize him. Like, I mean, it's not the clearest picture, but somebody has to know who he is. But we also have to start looking in the past. Like, he couldn't have left no footprint. There has to be a picture of him or a story about him or something. Like, he can't have just done nothing for 30 or 40 years. There's got to be something history-wise that proves he was there. Start in Florida. That's where the guy's Airbnb is. But anyway, internet, do your thing. Come on, guys. We need to find this guy. We just need to find him and ask him some questions. That's all we need to do. Also, can somebody find out where that Airbnb is, where the shed is located? Because, want to try something. Somebody did a reverse image search on the old time traveler that came out of the shed. I just woke up. And, I think we found him. So this is the guy that came out of the shed. And I think he looks a lot like this guy, who's got a Quora profile asking questions about time travel. He asks a few questions about time travel. And he's a Harvard graduate, that lives in New Mexico. So I asked him on Quora, if he's a time traveler. I don't think I'll get a response. Unfortunately, he died. A couple years ago. Or did he? He probably did. I don't know. Interdimensional travel's weird. I'm gonna get exactly 0 work done at work today, because I'm gonna need to know everything about Stephen A. Miller. I should just call off and be like, I need to research time travel. I gotta stalk a dead guy because time travel, and that's why I'm not coming to work today. Sounds reasonable. Feels way more important. Alright, it's lunchtime, so it's time for an update on the time traveler, the shed traveler. Time traveling shed man. We gotta come up with a name for him. If you saw my post from this morning, I'm not 100% convinced that it's Stephen Albert Miller. Even though he does look like the guy, you can't really go by looks, but, I mean, every little bit of research I do on him kind of, check it out. So here's a kid that went in the shed next to the guy that came out of the shed the next day. And when you search the image, it looks like this guy, Stephen Albert Miller. And that's his picture from Quora, where he asks questions about time travel. And he's got some interesting connections on Quora, but also on LinkedIn. I also found an obituary for Stephen Albert Miller from 2018, July of 2018, and there was only one person that posted like a little tribute on the funeral website. And there it is right there. So I searched that person in the Book of Faces, found another tribute, but this one is dated 2017, saying that he died in 2018. Now, the math ain't mathin' on that. But Steve also had a design, like a graphic design website, and there's a very in-depth interview with him. He's very interested in sound, like frequencies and resonance, and metaphysical transference of consciousness. It's very, I'm not going to talk too much about that because it's very technical, and I gotta put some time into it. But the shed is located in Florida somewhere. I'm not gonna dox the guy. But Steve also has a previous address of Sarasota, Florida. And on like the obituary website and public records, he's also got like a few like family members, but it didn't seem like they were very close. They didn't even say nothing on his, funeral page. But also, it doesn't say that there was a funeral. It says celebration of life. And that, usually in my experience in that case, they didn't have a body. But I would actually have to talk to somebody to know that. I'm a little hesitant to start contacting people yet. Because, that's rude. I want to just start blowing people up, being like, hey, your, distant relative that died in 2018, you never found his body. Is he a time traveler? That's a recipe for a restraining order right there. So I'm going to be as respectful as I can for now and just creep on them. Yeah. But also, some of them are located in New Jersey, and I'm in PA, so, I don't want to drive to New Jersey. You know why the tolls are coming out of New Jersey? It's because no one would ever pay to get in. I hate Jersey. But anyway, I'm not 100% convinced that it's him. It's just... It seems like it is. How old would he have been? He would have been 76. The guy that came out of the shed could be 76. Alright, let's say the guy that went into the shed was 30 years old. Stephen Albert Miller's birthday is 1949. 30 years plus 1949 is 1979. 1979 and 1980 whatever is when all of the time travel stuff kind of converges with movies and Montauk Project and all, a bunch of stuff. So that correlates too. I'm not 100% convinced yet. I need something more than circumstantial. I'm working on it. If you still think the Time Shedler story's a hoax, check this out.
Was there a time traveler at an Airbnb in Florida? Yes. Can someone please explain?
Now, I don't usually put much stock into bone reading. Get it? But to be honest, yeah, it's bone. No, I do have an update for you, but it's not very humorous. So let's start with what we know. On April 26th at 2:38 p.m., a young man entered a Florida shed. The next day at 5:23 p.m., an older man that resembled the younger man from the first day exits the Florida shed. A reverse image search on the older man reveals that it could be Stephen Albert Miller, who claims to have graduated from Harvard, but his name does not appear on any student manifest or alumni list for the years that he claims to have attended.
Well, that's kind of suspicious.
However, public records indicate that he lived in Sarasota, Florida from February 2000 to November 2005, which is interesting because another famous time traveler claims to have lived in Tampa, Florida. I wonder how far Sarasota is from Tampa. It's not far at all. It's pretty close. Everybody knows that the John Titor story is a hoax and none of his predictions came true. Well, maybe that's because you didn't pay attention, because John Titor said that there's going to be a 1 to 2% change between world lines, and one of those changes could have been the calendar that they use. If you use the Gregorian calendar, no, none of his predictions came true at all. But if you use the Ethiopian calendar, which is a 7 to 8 year difference, they're pretty close. And if you use the 12-year theory, they're pretty scary. John Titor claimed to be from 2036. If you add 12 years to his predictions, he said that in 2004, a civil war would break out after a presidential election, or at least start. He also predicted that the Civil War would heat up in 2008. He added 12 to 2008, that's 2020. Then he said in 2012, there would be a Waco-style event. Which is interesting because I feel like recently we've been hearing a lot in the news about homegrown terrorists and lone wolves. Feels like they're setting up for something. And if you use the Ethiopian calendar, which adds 7 to 8 years, he said that this would happen. I feel like something happened on October 7th of 23. He also said this about UFOs. I feel like we have been seeing a lot of them recently. I know I just put two theories about different calendars together, but it's all just I just think it's a coincidence. After all, this is a coincidence wall! All this is just for coincidences and for entertainment purposes only. Please don't take this down. This song came on while I was driving home from work. This song came on, and I had an idea. I'm gonna try it. It's gonna be so bad, but it's gonna be hilarious. See that guy in the gas jeans, changing all of our memories, traveling through portals and changing our timeline. Now when I see his face, it's because he's bending time and space. And if I try too hard, I'm probably just gonna die. Whoa, 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 time travel guy. Oh man, that's so bad. Alright, I do have an update on the time Shedler. Alec, the kid that owns the shed, finally went around the neighborhood with pictures of the guys to see if anybody recognized him.
To my property and go into my shed. Have you ever seen this young guy before with a guest shirt? Or this old guy?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen this man sell him something.
Sell him something? What do you mean, sir?
Sells you something?
Like shit, items.
Like repair shop stuff?
Alec, you're really not that naive, are you, bro? Somebody else explain it to him. I'm not I don't have the energy.
Like repair shop stuff?
I don't know what that, I don't remember.
That happens a lot. I mean, sometimes you just forget about the shit items that you've purchased from an unknown gentleman on the street. It happens. He's talking about drugs.
I carry a bag sometimes.
So he comes around here a lot?
Not a lot.
No?
No. But I feel like I've seen him.
Okay.
Not these guys. Him, he got red and bald ears up there, and he got like white shoes. I would remember him.
Guy before?
He's trespassed around the store.
He's not, this guy's not allowed in the store.
Shocking. But long story short, these two individuals are known individuals in the neighborhood. Most likely not time travelers. Which means I just spent an entire week researching a shed. But I mean, like, what else was I gonna do? Like, I don't know. Pretty much anything. Anything else is what I could have been doing. And literally anything. But it wasn't like it wasn't not fun. I mean, now I know who Stephen Albert Miller was, and I mean, he was an interesting fellow. It's kind of like going on an 18-hour, like, road trip to the Grand Canyon, and when you get there, you realize that you're staring at a ditch. But I mean, it's the adventure of the journey. So, next!